I was like, holy cow, Bambi.
How about,
Did he leave his skate guards on?
You got to be kidding me. Like two other three guys that played in the
I know you got more money than
yeah, I was gonna say.
like. Is it hockey? So we were playing here. Welcome back, guys. Episode 5 of Crash Course. Alec, Joe, welcome back to the show, fellas.
Thank you.
Yeah, thank you. Glad to be back.
Very interesting weekend in the hockey world and football world and all sorts of good things.
Yeah. Yeah, but Alex won 3.
That's good. Well, he didn't really win 3.
No. The boys won 3.
The fellas won 3.
The fellas won 3.
They did. They did.
Yeah, they win in Austin was it 7-2?
7-2, 3-0, 7-0.
So it was a good weekend, 6 points, and the guys responded well from the weekend prior, with some unfortunate events, but we're not going to get into details, but pretty good weekend.
Yeah.
Really good weekend.
Yeah, I mean, we played good. Friday was a little rough. We figured it out. Saturday, their goalie stood on his head. Sunday, we came out. And
He's just a little guy, too, eh?
yeah, he was battling. Because
he
the entire
was
game.
everywhere.
Yeah, he was all over it.
And was he the same guy that played Sunday?
No, they played three different
Because the kid on Sunday was
He stood on
on
his head,
fire, too, because you guys got put up like almost 70 shots.
Yeah, and it was 0-0 after 1. Yeah.
Like Ron Tugnut, 72.
Yeah.
Like Denny Lemieux?
Yeah.
Sort of?
Something. I mean,
I'm
those
sick of
goalies,
the eye allergies.
I mean, I don't know how those goalies aren't good if teams are putting up 60,
Yeah.
70 a game on them. And,
And I guess that's why they have 3 and they're rotating.
yeah. So
They're tired.
But no, it's...
They're tired.
Yeah, it was a good weekend, and I watched as much as I could on Friday, Saturday. I watched all of it on Sunday, and that kid was he whatever his name was playing in that he was everywhere and doing a good job,
They
man.
did
So
a good
hats
job.
off to you,
Yeah,
bud.
Absolutely. And they only had 15 skaters dressed for Sunday. So
How many did they have Friday, Saturday?
I think they dressed 20 and 19 and then 15.
The guys hurt. Wow,
They had a bunch of, there's like 3 or 4 guys that got hurt this weekend. A guy got suspended. So they were short.
because I was looking at
How
the
many
bench.
did you have?
We dressed 20 on Friday, and then we had a full roster the rest of the weekend.
A couple guys come off,
Yeah.
so that's a good. But a good weekend. This week you're rolling into New Mexico Thursday, Friday. You guys are taking off Thursday morning. That'll be a huge 2 games.
It's a playoff series for sure. I mean, that's 2 must wins. We need to get climbing here. We're sitting in second. We're 9 points back. So 2 wins would be absolutely huge for the boys.
100%. Like that's you guys get 4. That puts you in a pretty good spot for sure. And then how many games you guys got left? 12?
We got 12 left.
12 left, right?
Yep. So
season ends. You're on the road the last weekend in February, first weekend of March.
yeah.
You make the makeup series in Mid-Cities.
Yep.
So hopefully we can finish on a positive note there. Some needed points, hopefully.
It would be huge. Having Atlanta, who had a good weekend against the Brahmas this weekend, so can't look past them, and then Roadrunners and Mid-Cities to finish. So it'll there's some big games in there that we definitely need to win. Those they're not going to take them lightly, I'm sure. So
No.
we need to be rocking and rolling, getting.
They're all
here.
big, right?
They're all big at this point of the season.
Yeah,
Absolutely,
every one of them. Well, they are every one of them. Every one of them.
Yeah, no doubt. And I'm sure their place will be rocking too because they draw fairly well there. So it'll be good venue. They do a good job there.
So you have Thursday, Friday?
Thursday, Friday. Yeah,
It's a 6:30 and a 12.
Yeah, I think the Friday one's a school day game or something, and Ronald McDonald House is doing something.
Oh, cool.
So hopefully there's a bunch of kids.
And I would assume the NA's playing there.
I would imagine.
Yeah, so they like to clear out.
So
Wow. Do your guys go to prospects too?
we do, but it's not until the Fraser Cup weekend. So
Yeah.
if we don't make it to Fraser, then they.
Okay, where have you been?
Did you bring the afternoon paper?
Yeah. We needed your expertise here.
One of our producers
started
just
30 minutes
wheels in
late 'cause
about
our
45
producer was
minutes
missing
late.
you.
You
I
hey,
know. We're gonna give it to you.
That's all right, man.
You worry about it.
that's all right. Next time, bring dinner.
Yeah.
What a burger!
What?
He doesn't know what to say. He's just sitting there,
You smell really
deer in the
good.
headlight.
Yeah.
Whataburger. You did smell good, Joe.
I know.
And just for those listeners, he did pay up.
Yeah, I did.
We upgraded from Whataburger. Well, I don't know if there's such a thing as an upgrade, but different.
Yeah. Well, hey, I'll remember that next time I lose. It's like, hey, how's Whataburger sound over 40s? Yeah.
Right? And yeah, you did. I totally forgot, and you were like, "No, I owe you." I'm like, "Yeah, you do, alligator arms."
Yeah.
You let me finish. I meant Mike.
Yeah.
I meant Mike.
Let me get that.
Here, I got this one. Oh shoot! Wouldn't you know? I forgot my wallet. We had a buddy, men's league. We used to play at the other building, and you guys know what it's like. We've all played somewhere, and you get these new guys coming in, these adult players, and they're thinking that El Paso's just what most people think. You know, there's no hockey here, that sort of thing. And he realized that we have an adult rec league, and he's like, I want to play. He goes, "Yeah, I played a little bit pro." I'm like, "Oh wow!" So we got another guy coming in that's going to be fairly good. So first thing I do is the old, weird. I don't see him anywhere, and I'm not tracking him. Well, that's okay because it's not the
Threw him
first
in the
time.
Googler.
You know, threw him in the Googler. So I'm researching, and I'm like, I don't see anything, and I'm not claiming to be the best guy on a computer. So maybe it's a typo, maybe it's something.
The best guy on the ice, though, that's for sure.
Yeah, I just, I'm rocking 75 in Pup A, but hey. So put him in the Googler. I don't see nothing. So then we play. And he's, I'm not taking away.
Did you stick him in the mouth?
No, I was not like that.
Oh.
But we're getting dressed. And old Tommy Tryhard here.
You?
No. This guy is full deck. He's putting his shoulder pads on and his elbow pads on. And I'm thinking, and his visor's like almost a full face.
He's like a Skidoo helmet.
Right. Kind of like. So I'm looking at this guy. I'm like, there's no flipping way, but, and then we go out on the ice. Because I didn't tell him that I played anywhere or Herm was there. Like there was Kerm's brother was playing. And I didn't tell him any of that. And this guy comes out and I'm like, I could have swore he had his skate guard still on because he was like, I'm like, there's no flipping. Dude, like,
Play a little bit
don't you realize, guys, that there's hockey database, there's elite prospect, there's word of mouth,
Let's just start with that one.
Yeah, let's start
Hell
with
with the Googler.
I asked Jeeves, and Jeeves didn't even know.
He asked the Masher, and the Masher didn't know, and then he didn't play nowhere.
But, we talk about guys, I don't know. But it's so funny because there would always be something new and guys coming in and wanting to play, and just didn't. I don't know how we got on this conversation, this part, but
I don't either.
I really don't. But it was a funny story. Anyway,
Tommy Tryhard.
so we got a lot of those. Like
Yeah?
not so much now, but like when I first retired from playing, and I was still heavily involved with playing, like in the fun.
Is there still a men's league?
Oh yeah.
Yeah? How many teams?
Well, we kind of do it differently. We kind of rent the ice, and they do it themselves.
Okay.
So two different adult guys do two separate things. One's more of a fun, and the other one's a little bit more serious. But it's all in good fun, if you will. But it's good. There's a lot of adults, a lot of military guys that come in.
I was going to say, there have to be some pretty good players.
And the
that are-
militaries that come in, like the guys can play.
Yeah,
Like, there's
they can
guys
play,
that have been
right?
at West
You're
Point.
from-
There's,
yeah.
there's some good players, man. But we got our not tryhards, but the diehards that come every Saturday morning at 6:45 to 8:45, and come in at 8:15 to 10:15 at night. So it's really good.
That's good. I've never. You know what? I have seen it early in the morning. I was going to do the El Paso inline this year. We were going to build a team. Then they closed it.
Of course. Oh yeah, they did.
Now it's back open though.
I'm still not playing.
I know. I asked you.
I know I'm not playing.
Dude, you know, you don't even have to walk anywhere. That one push gets you anywhere you want to go. It's one of those. And you can go anywhere you want.
Good bearings.
Yeah, well greased.
Well greased.
It was the best summer job I ever had.
It's so hot.
Well, we could both use it.
Yeah, 100%.
But it's not. Like skating is work. It just is, right?
Yeah.
Roller hockey.
That's where we went.
Roller hockey is not work. Roller hockey is one push, and it's like glide. You play hockey like Nick Schmaltz.
Well, since we're talking about weight, one glide for, say, a guy like you you're probably ripping around 2 or 3 laps, right?
No. I'm warming up.
But you know what I mean.
Dude, one push anywhere you go. You want to go to the bathroom? One push. You want to go to the bench? One push. You want to go down the ice? One push.
You got a point.
That's what I said. It was the best summer job I ever had. Then it is literally like, here, I'll tell you a story. So my roller hockey international, my roommate played the year before, and he calls me up and he says, "Hey, what are you doing?" And I'm like, I don't know, nothing. He's like, "You want to come try out for Buffalo? Where were you? The Buffalo Stampede or whatever it was, Wings, whatever." And I said, "Sure." And I said, "Well, what are we doing?" He goes, "Well, just come over here, be here at 11 o'clock or whatever." He's like, "All right." I said, "Well, what do I bring?" He goes, "Just bring your hockey bag." So I brought my hockey bag, and I walked in the door, and I handed the trainer my skates, and they came back to me with wheels. Went out, played a little scrimmage, booting around. I couldn't stop anywhere, so I just ran into the boards like I was 3, Well, I ended up making the team, and I learned how to stop. But what you also learn how to do is be efficient. Right? So it's literally, you put your skates on, you get up in the locker room, and it's one push. You walk down the hallway, you're not walking. It's one push.
One push.
It's the best summer job I've ever
back
had.
in whatever, I guess late 90s, that was big.
Oh, it's huge.
Yeah.
I don't know if it's big anymore.
No, unfortunately, I was part of it the year they lost their ESPN2 contract, where for those 3 years before,
Yeah.
it was on ESPN2, and it was a big deal, and they were selling out arenas around the country and all NHL buildings. And then the year I played, the West Division was still cooking pretty good. Anaheim and San Diego, I think, had a team, but
Yeah.
Buffalo had won it the year before, sold out crowds, and we had went to the new arena from the old one, and it wasn't. It was.
Well, we had
I
the
think it
Calgary
lasted one more.
Rads.
Yeah, he had the Vancouver Voodoo, right? Yeah. So
I had no interest. Zero.
I didn't either. I really did. I never did it again. Like I didn't go back the next summer. But you flew everywhere. You made really good money, and for a summer job, it was one push.
I was working hockey. I was working hockey schools. That's what I was doing.
Practice and then golf, and
Nah,
it was good. It was a good job.
Tough.
Anyway,
Can't be.
Anyway,
Rhinos.
Joe, yeah. Your weekend, Joe. 2 at home, 1 on the road.
Still recovering.
Still recovering. Tough weekend.
Yeah.
Friday, well, in a sense of points, really, but the game on Friday was really good, despite the outcome.
When you lose a 1-0 hockey game,
It was a good game,
shoot them 17-16. Yeah.
but it was
Think
good.
of that? That's terrible, eh?
That's rough. That's rough.
It's junior hockey.
Yeah.
And don't get me wrong, we checked, they checked, but there's more to the game of hockey than checking.
Yeah.
And there was nothing else out there but checking. So it was I was frustrated with it. But yeah, losing 1-0. And then Saturday night, didn't play well to start. Then we played really well, I thought. We scored a goal with 3.5 left. It didn't count. You said that it probably didn't count. The funny part about it is the next night, which is Sunday when we won, right? Same guy. And I said, walked down the Brownie, because the net had come off, and he'd come over to our bench and said, I'm going to review it. But I got to make sure the puck went between the two, whatever. And I just said, yeah, sure, dude. And I looked over at Brownie and said, it's a goal.
Yeah.
And it was, 5 minutes later, and the guy goes,
So
goal.
you think that I would, or both of you, would know the guidelines between the review. So I think, and again, I don't know 100%, but I think the question is if the puck crosses the goal line.
Correct.
That's reviewable.
Correct.
Not how it went in.
Correct.
Makes
And
no sense.
you know what isn't reviewable either? Is we had no review. Both teams have to have review
For it to work.
For there to be a review,
Right.
period.
Yeah.
So when he came over and he was, this is 10 minutes later, he came over and said something. And I said, hey, thanks for the review, but the review wasn't even allowed. And he was like, what? And I said, yeah, mine doesn't work. And he's looking at me like, they don't even know the rules.
Yeah.
They don't know the rules. And I know from where I stand, I've called the league a couple times already over the rules. And if both teams and the penalty box doesn't have it, it
Doesn't
cannot
work.
be reviewed.
Yeah.
We didn't have it.
What was the reason for Shep's goal not?
Are you talking the overtime?
No, the Shep's goal on
Shep's
Friday
goal
night.
on Friday night. That was the only one that I said.
To win the game outright on Saturday night.
Went off his chest, then to his mitts because he's carrying a stick like this, and then they're saying that put it in with his hands.
I mean,
now it
happened.
It happened really, really quick,
clear.
And I would have to agree with that they made the right call.
Yeah.
You know, like it is what it is. Like, and then we didn't think it was like. And then second of all, we're all wondering like, well, are they going to review it? Which obviously they can't because it's not whether it crossed or didn't cross the goal line.
Yeah, because I was in.
Because when I went back and looked at the replay, we didn't know if our cameras would pick it up because of the way ours are viewed, right? But it actually picked it up, and I didn't pay much. Like for what? Like what am I going to argue it? Like it was a goal. Yeah. This is the day later or whatever. But when you look at it, and I didn't slow it down, but I didn't see it go off his mitts, stick and then in. I think it just went off his mitts and then in. So I think they made the right call. But
well, you know what? They do that once in a while. Once in a while, they get it right. You know,
it's like I refereed for a while, man. When we first started, it's not easy.
No.
It's
I just
not.
knew the next night we were getting it. I just,
Right.
I thought if this guy, I honestly, am I gonna get in trouble for this?
It all depends what you're gonna say.
I was like, I didn't think he had the kahunas.
Nah, you're good.
I didn't think he had the kahunas to do it 2 nights in a row. That's the only reason I said what I said.
Right.
I could be wrong. He's a nice guy. Don't get me wrong, but like that takes to do that to a team. He's not doing it to me. I'm not. This isn't personal. I'm just saying to do it twice is, whew. Because I think I would, but I'm not sure I'd do it twice to a team. Like, you know what? I can't do this again. I'm gonna have to get this
your mic
goal.
down a little bit.
I'm gonna have to do this again. He's like,
But like, I don't think he.
oh no, of course not.
It's
No,
just
no.
is it you're putting a bad like it is what it is, man. Like
Well, as a referee, you're in bad situations where
all the time, man.
and it's not easy. But you're human, and that's what I mean by that. There's the human side of it that, yeah, you can say rule book all you want, but there's a human side to it that you're, I know I would be, and I don't blame those guys. They
It's
do a
hard,
great
man.
job. They do a great job.
So when we first started, I think we talked about this before, like back when you were here. Like I did the referee association because we didn't have one, so I was reffing Rhino games, and I was wearing the bands, and it got to the point like you try not to be a homer. And I'm not saying these guys are homer. That's not what I'm saying. I'm just telling a story. But where you play and you don't want to be homer, so you make it almost obvious where you're putting it in favor of the other guys.
Did Herm ever yell at you?
No. What do you need? No. I was on fire. Didn't miss a call, didn't miss
Well, how did you warm up? I want to know how you warmed up. Like, did you just put one leg on the board and give her one of those?
No, dude.
Like, what did you do?
I just stood right by the glass.
I never
and-
moved.
No.
You just drink your water, talk to the penalty
I
box,
wasn't
and
that guy when I was bobbing.
You didn't have the princess run going over there?
No. I was just, let's
Shocking.
go. And I think I probably called 2 or 3 no-hitters for real.
Prancing. You
I
pranced.
believe it.
But it was so different back then, you know what I mean? And Herm wouldn't yell at me. That was back in the Western States Hockey League days when you guys were blowing everybody out 15 to rip. So it was pretty hard to complain, 20 penalties against and 3-4 and you're still winning. Like how do you? But it got to the point where the
Can't believe Herm didn't send me a ring.
where the fans get on you.
I was going to say, for all those players I sent down here, right?
You should owe you one.
Didn't you beat him?
Yeah.
Yeah, with half my team.
Last.
You were going to win that game no matter what. Half of them were from my. They wanted to be. They wanted to show it up.
And then this week for you, Joe, we got 2 Friday, Saturday against Colorado Grit. We canceled the Sunday game because of the top prospect event, and that's rescheduled to the 25th of February. Takes away a 3-game series, but it's kind of a
Oh my God! Thank God.
right.
Yeah, we got Colorado. So we'll go tomorrow, Thursday with prep, and then I really felt that they didn't come in today. I really felt like we were we're just coming off Christmas, but at the same time, we played 3 before Christmas, 3 after, 3 after, then
Weekend
off, and then 2, and then 3, and it just feels like we've just played so much. We're a little bit banged up too.
We
we
played
got a
almost
couple-
15 games in the month.
Yeah, and we're really banged up, and it sort of came to light yesterday. In fact, Zeus Zeus doesn't call me very often. I call him a lot, but he did. And I was shocked to hear from him. I thought he was calling over a different matter yesterday afternoon, and he called and said, "Hey, you got a couple guys on the back end that aren't doing so good," and I was like, "Oh, okay." And I said, "Well, we're going to take tomorrow," and I said, "I'll have them come in for treatments if you want," and he said, "Yeah, 9:30." So I didn't know. I just sent out a text saying, "Hey, if you want to see him and need to see him, then get in there." But you guys saying that there's nobody here other than the guys for treatment was because I thought it'd be, maybe it was the right call when nobody was asking to skate.
And that's when you said that, he's like, no, there was like 4 or 5 guys here. I'm like, no, I didn't see it, but treatment.
Yeah, just treatment. But I usually, if I give an off day that's unexpected, 10 of them beg me, "Can we go out? Can we go out? Can we go out?" And nobody asked. So I don't think that it was a bad decision because I just felt like we just had been playing too much and guys were really banged up, bruised, and for being this time of year, it's still a little early for that.
Even playing 3-3, which you do almost every weekend, right? That Sunday is a grind. That's even at home.
Yeah.
Now, when you're playing 2 at home and then you're traveling that third game, whether it's 4 hours, 6 hours, whatever it is, you're still traveling. Back in the pro days, it used to be a given where you'd go. You'd be home, and you know what I mean. But different time, different era. It's tough, man.
It's too much at this level. When I got into, not early on because there was a lot of fighting in hockey early on in my coaching, but it was like 2000. I think it was 2010, where they wanted to avoid back-to-back games against the same team.
Yeah.
We're not talking 3-3 against the same team. We're talking back-to-back.
Yeah.
So my first year back in the United States Hockey League in 2010, we legitimately went, like we would play Friday night in Muskegon. We'd play Saturday night at the program. Yeah. Or you'd play Friday night in Chicago, Saturday in Green Bay. And it was because, and this is 2010, when there wasn't very much fighting.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, there was more than there was today. But and that's why they did it. Is because if you got to the 3-3, it was an absolute war.
Oh, yeah.
And players were getting hurt. This is 10 years ago. So now 13 years later, what if you haven't learned from history? It's bound to repeat itself. So here we are again. Yeah. And it's like, well, wait a second. 13 years ago, we got away from back-to-backs against the same team. Now we're tripling?
Yeah.
So I'm frustrated with it. There's no doubt. I've never not been frustrated with it, as if you've heard anything I've said since September, but it's too much. It's too much for the players. It's too much for everybody involved. It's battle of attrition mentally for coaches.
On everybody. From everybody on the staff.
Everybody.
Like,
hockey level.
Yeah.
Building level.
Absolutely.
It's a lot.
It's a lot to ask of your fans to come back and see the same team 3 times.
100%.
Oh, yeah.
It makes absolutely no sense from any angle, and we just, whatever. We just keep doing it.
Yeah, it's one of those things where. Anyway, I'm not going to go too far in it. Yeah.
But yeah, it was. We're looking forward to,
and it was good to get that win for sure.
Yeah. And we have prospects, so then we have 3 guys that are.
How was that? I didn't see that goal. How did Badger score? I heard it was a 1-on-2, and somehow we went through and.
Yeah.
Because I was listening to it, I wasn't watching it.
Yeah, he was it a broken,
Did you see it?
Was it a broken puck?
I didn't see it because
He picked the puck up just outside the blue line around the dot. Maybe he skated it through. I'm trying to remember. I just remember turning my head when he crossed the blue line, and he's a right-hand shot. He crossed the blue line about the dot line, cut to the middle of the ice, give a little guy a shimmy shake coming off his right shoulder. There's a guy off his left shoulder, and I think he beat him to the outside, and as he stepped outside the shot lane, where the D was taken away, he buried it over his shoulder. It was a really nice goal.
Yeah, it sounded like.
I should probably tell him that one because I was so tired. We just
good job.
Just start the bus. Let's get out of here.
And Frankie in the blankie, it was his birthday. And did he score a trick or no?
I got asked that yesterday, and I feel terrible if I'm saying the wrong thing. I think he had 2, but I haven't.
Because the announcers.
Yeah, the announcer said he had 3, but he also assisted twice on his own goal or something. So.
Yeah, they were struggling. I don't know. Let me see if we can pull it up. Because it said he scored 3, assisted his first goal.
Yeah.
It was Frank's type of game.
Yeah.
NBC.
And then you said that he didn't.
How mad was he?
You said he
about
didn't like playing there. Frankie, 1, 2. I only got 2. Poor Frank. Poor performance, Frank. Only 2 on your birthday.
We gotta get
Shame
Frank.
on you.
We gotta get Frank on the show.
Yeah, he'd be a trip. But yeah, so good weekend in that realm, I guess. Coming out with 2 points, which is much needed. And you guys are tied for second too, I believe.
Well, we needed that one, but now they have a game in hand on us.
Fair enough. And you're tied for second as well.
No, we're in solo second.
Solo
A
second?
point ahead.
That's good.
Do you still have games in hand on anybody?
Yeah.
Not the
we're
teams we
even
needed,
with the Roadrunners, and then we're 1 behind New
there you
Mexico, 3 or 4 behind Brahmas, so we should be.
Like, how close is that? And both the NA and NA3 round, you guys are tight.
Yeah.
Like that division is tight. It's super tight. And it'll come down to the last weekend for sure.
And we have Shreveport the last week.
I know. In Shreveport.
Yeah.
Yeah. Should be good. Should be good.
I was like, what are we doing?
I was thinking about I gotta be careful. The schedule. I'll just leave it alone.
Yeah, just leave it. Just
But things are going to be better. I'm anticipating a good board of governors meeting in a couple days ahead of the top prospects. We've got.
I want to come.
You're not allowed to come, Joe.
I know, but I want to. I won't say anything. I promise.
Yeah, right. Even if I had a muzzle on you, you wouldn't be able to.
Oh,
I'd find a way.
I'd be scratching my back. I don't know what. Honestly, I just don't understand certain things.
There,
and I know you don't either. Don't get me wrong.
Sure,
I just don't.
There are things that that.
Like we have 7 3-3s, and Oklahoma City's got 2.
That's one. Yeah.
We're off 6 weekends, which we should have. If you're off a weekend at all, and this goes for everybody in the league, if you have an off weekend, it should be one before Christmas. So say first week in November, and you should have one in the middle of February.
But with some of these teams too, and I'm not throwing out as an excuse. I'm just being devil's advocate to a certain degree. We're also trying to schedule for 2 teams, and it does come into play a bit with certain obligations we do have with the county and what we need to do here. But could it have been done?
Oh, I haven't even started blaming you yet. This is strictly me blaming the league. But if you'd like to add yourself to the equation,
I'm not.
Step to the plate.
We've had this conversation before. Like at the beginning of the year was terrible, right? Going to the showcase, Colorado showcase, then all of October.
It's terrible before, but when we got through it at 8-1.
Yeah, see, genius.
Okay,
what are you talking about, Joe? Slow down, right? And then, hindsight, but whatever. It is what it is, and. Do I think it'll be better in the future? Yeah, I do, 100%.
I'm glad you do.
It'll be. How's the crowd on Sunday? In Odessa, was it?
We had a bet before the game that the over and under was 100, and I was the book. I was the house.
Nah,
I was the house, and I won.
Well, a football game going on too. So
no. I won. I counted 115.
Maybe that's why you went in overtime.
Jay had 94, I think. Jay had 94. I think Sue said 76 or something.
I don't know why I brought that up.
And I'm like, guys, I'm sticking at 100. You can go over, you can go under. I'll be the house.
what
I went
McCurry
out there.
have?
I walked by the bench.
He wasn't there. He was only there at the beginning.
He left.
Okay.
Yeah, you know how we walk around the ice there, and you have the door.
Yeah.
So I literally am walking onto the ice, and I'm counting all these. It doesn't take long to count to 100, right? Well, I walked by the door that I had to go in to get on the bench, and I stopped and I turned around. And Brown was like, I was like, "Dude, what are you doing?" I was like, "Oh, just counting the people." Sorry. You know what? No, I'm not. I'm not sorry. I'm not sorry. I'm angry now. I'm not sorry. I'm not sorry. Oh, Scotty was mad too.
And they said this wouldn't work.
Scotty was mad though. He's
a great guy.
Yeah, he's awesome.
He's
guy.
awesome.
And he just turns to me and goes, "Really? We couldn't have did this tomorrow afternoon." I was like, "It's your boss, Scotty, not mine." So, anyway, but we won.
It worked out. It worked out.
Yeah.
They got a point out of it too, so it was all right.
I've never heard our team, like, our teams usually gets excited, when they get in the locker room and stuff. So I get in there and I walk by, and as I'm walking by, all of a sudden, all you hear was like 2 or 3 of the players says, "Guys, let's get the out of here." Yeah. And I just stopped and went, "Yep, the meter's running, and you got 15 minutes." And I wasn't angry. I was just like, I'm exhausted.
Tired.
I'm tired. You guys are tired. Let's go home. Like, let's just go home.
What time did you guys get back?
Like 11:15.
I was gonna say you guys got back before us. We got back at 20 to 2.
Yeah, we had
that's
12
probably
o'clock
right. Yeah.
start.
Yeah,
so,
That's right.
so it wasn't too bad. I mean, could have been worse, I guess.
Yeah. No, I thought you guys were gonna be because the guy at the security gate guy looked at us like,
Why
didn't this bus already come?
Yeah.
Surprised he was up.
Yeah, he was.
Oh, he wasn't up on Friday morning when we left.
No?
That's for sure.
No?
I couldn't get a hold of him. We couldn't get into the parking lot. I called Jay. I was
Yeah.
like, hey, can you help me out?
Did you see where he came out from?
He came from the Coliseum.
Okay, so he was
down
making
the way,
rounds
so-
probably. There was
So how do you just got to call the security guy?
Yeah. No one answered.
Did
so.
you get the phone number from Jay, or are you just gonna call him again in the middle of the night next time?
I
I
have another number.
I
now.
thought that maybe this is an idea. Maybe I should call Jay, or maybe I would get the number to the security. I was like, no, I'm going to call Jay at 4 in the morning.
That's what I did.
I know. It's like,
I was wondering if we are going to start talking about Dr. J.
well, see, we just opened her
Dr.
up.
Sharp.
Yeah, we tried to
He
get
was
him
up
on
here
today.
today.
Yeah, he wouldn't do it, eh?
Well, he was. I don't know if we have enough beep, 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 beep.
Yeah.
That we can put in the podcast because he was up here coming up with ideas. And it's like, this is another reason, Jay, why you can't come on. And Jay, there's another reason why you can't come on.
Yeah. He definitely wouldn't be allowed on the first 15 minutes because YouTube would flag that for sure. And we don't need that.
Yeah.
Foul language in the first 15 minutes is a no-go.
Old skizzle.
Is it really?
Yeah, right? Yeah, there's some sort of, you get flagged for it or something if there's, inappropriate comments in the first however many minutes of a YouTube posting.
We're good. But yeah, no, he was up here and he was walking over to your seat. I'm like, he was only kidding, but he's like, you ready? I'm like, nope. You're not allowed, Jay. Then there was some comments made back and forth. Yeah,
and to you good people out there, that are fans listening, he doesn't do it on purpose. That's the best part.
Yeah. He's just awesome.
Yeah, he's just
Jay, man.
yeah,
Like,
Jay. Yeah.
He
If it was raining out, he wouldn't necessarily come inside. Like he just
it's right.
No, I'm just kidding, Jay. He gets rattled. He goes, come on, guys, man.
Like, are you guys going to talk about me again?
Like, yeah.
Yes.
Of course.
Yeah.
But he loves it, man. He's probably
he
the
does.
first guy to listen to it and do the old thumbs up or whatever you do. And I know his whole family watches it, and there's 75 kids. And did I say 75? I meant 15.
He has a litter.
A litter. Yeah, literally. Not a puppy litter either.
No.
Kitty litter.
Rabbit litter. Yeah.
Rabbit one.
He has a litter. Oh, boy.
But he's certainly a proud rhino.
Yes, he is.
That's for sure.
Yeah, he's a good
we're
dude.
happy to have him. But so this weekend, guys, Mahomes. Get Mahomes out of here.
Yeah, come on.
So the producer, telephone tough guy over there, brings up Patrick Mahomes.
Can't figure out the mics. Can't figure out the headphones, but can chirp us.
Well, that's
about.
probably why he's a Mahomes.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Are you get out of here, Joe? For real? How'd your Buffalo Bills do?
Well,
Yeah, exactly.
it's not worth explaining.
Speaking about the bandwagoner over here,
I'm a Bears fan.
of course he is now. Detroit. That's too bad for them.
Yeah, you know.
I felt bad.
Okay, so
That was more-
I think you guys understand me well enough to know, like, would you call me Mr. Optimism? I don't know about that.
Now I'd go with Debbie Downer.
Yeah,
that's-
maybe at times, right? So we have this big room in Odessa.
Which one? Because it's 3 levels, no? 2
Yeah,
levels.
the third level, second level.
Yeah.
And Jeff, Brownie's dad's in town. So Jeff is sitting with us before the game, and he's got he had the game on the radio, and Jay comes in after finishing up, and then he puts it on his phone, and we're all watching the game, the Lions game before we go out, and they're up 20. We watched the first half, I think.
It was
Before the game started, I think.
20.
Pretty sure close. And it was 21-7, 24-7.
Yeah, something like that.
Something like that.
I don't know.
And I'm
trying
sitting
to
there,
forget about it.
and I'm sitting there going, hey, this is good. And Jeff's like, no, they're gonna screw it up.
Yeah.
I'm like, Jeff, no, they're not. Like this
did.
is their year. Like
They did.
they're going to. And he's like, nope, we're gonna drop a ball. We're gonna do something. And then I didn't see the rest of the game. Yesterday I watched some highlights and. They dropped a couple balls.
They dropped.
But I felt bad for him. And I literally felt like it was being like a Leaf fan, right?
Yeah.
Like it's painful to be a Cubs fan, where it was for a long time, right?
Yeah.
It's painful to be a Leafs fan. It's painful to be a Lions fan, and you just really wanted to get them over the hump, and they got a lot to be proud of.
No, I think they're going to be pretty good for a couple of years now. Like I really do.
I hope
think
so.
they got a good thing.
The
going.
good thing about it is I'm used to it. So, it's just another
but-
day, really,
I could swear off the Maple Leafs. Like they're going nowhere. I know they're not.
I hope the Chiefs get pounded.
And Herm, our lovely, awesome owner, buddy, I know you and I talk about the Leafs a lot. They're garbage. A little shout out to the Leafs.
A little shout out, you're terrible.
They are.
Calgary's better. Now that's a stretch. It is a stretch. But this weekend should be good. Then, Joe, you take off Sunday morning with a couple of players to the top prospects, which will be a good event for them, good event for you behind the bench.
I'm super excited.
You should be. You should be, Joe. It's for the kids.
It's for the kids.
It'll be a good
Like I'm
event.
driving the white panel van that says free candy and puppies.
Jay tagging along out the door.
It's free candy.
But no, it'll be a good event.
It's
a
always
good event.
it's one of the events our league gets right. Not that they get one wrong, but they get this one right for the most part. It's very well attended.
Yeah.
And it's not too much. You get your 3 games in a day.
Yeah, it's quick.
It's quick. The turnover rate is, we're in. I think I get in Sunday at dinner and I think around that. I think maybe
Yeah.
I don't know. And then we're out first thing Wednesday morning. So it's not a stressful event for us as coaches.
No, it's not.
It's really not. Which it makes it for a nice little break when you can watch hockey games and not be stressed out about the execution or. The process in which goes into
I
it.
talked to Mikey this morning. I think we're going to watch the game on Friday. Your game, our game, the Rhino game. Since I won't be here, we're going to sit
You're
down.
not here Friday either, or Saturday?
Oh, pardon me, Saturday. We're going to watch it Saturday together and pick you apart. And I'll send you a report card after the game.
How is Colorado on the road? I haven't even started looking yet. How are they on the road this year?
Well, they've won 8 games. I don't know if it's going to tell me home and away. No.
Okay,
I think it will.
go back to it. Oh, sorry. It doesn't say.
If you go up to the top, there's a drop-down bar. It says home and away on the left over it.
They are 3-10.
What are they at home? Oh, 5 and 7.
5 and whatever. So, yeah, but they'll bring it again. Should be a good weekend. Hopefully,
No, are they busing here?
I have no idea. At this point, I have no idea because they're in Dallas Friday, Saturday.
Not
Pardon
this, not this weekend. They're here.
No, they're bussing. Sorry, got the schedule mixed up. But yeah, so it should be interesting for sure. Good weekend, Alec. You got a big Thursday, Friday, so everything's a
What time do you
meaningful
play
game.
Friday?
11:30 in the morning. 6:30 and
So
then 11:30.
we acquired a player. We got a new addition to our team.
Yeah,
Jake Cameron. This isn't posted till tomorrow, right?
correct.
We made a trade late last night, which we're super excited about because that adds some top 6 depth for us. But the reason I bring it up is, beside my excitement, which I really am excited, is maybe we figure something out here.
I like figuring things out.
Yeah, because we have too many. And if there's something else we got going on the burner here, because our deadlines are February 6th is our trade deadline. It's
Roster
your trade
freeze is the
deadline
10th, I
too.
think.
The roster deadlines ours are 2 days. So to our fans, the trade deadline for everybody nationwide in the United States is February 6th. And then depending on your league, it goes February 8th for your roster freeze, and then February 10th for your roster freeze. Just
trickles down.
Just trickles down. And that's coming up next week. That'll be Tuesday. Right?
So it'll be an
Tuesday.
interesting.
So it'll be an interesting couple days with everybody, all the GMs in the same building. It was last year for the first time. They put everybody in the same rink. So you're right there with people instead of having to make phone calls. And there's a lot of running around different rooms and conference rooms and stuff going on. But I know we have too many. We do now. We got to make a couple decisions. So I just know if you guys are done at 2:30 on Friday afternoon.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, conversation.
Sure.
Yeah.
But yeah, so
Looking forward to it.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
It'll be. Yeah, we'll talk.
Yeah.
But appreciate you guys jumping on again as always. The weekly thing. I think some good content, especially next week. There's going to be some fun stuff, and then when we get into the deadline, we can most certainly talk about additions, subtractions, all that good stuff. Not only for our teams, but around the league. I think it'd be interesting for the listeners out there to kind of get an understanding of what goes on up to this date, and it can be very stressful. And I know we're the type of organization, we went through it a couple of years ago where we kind of sell the farm, if you will, and we're not in that position with any of our teams, with both teams, and
you're looking to acquire.
And you're
more
looking to
acreage.
acquire, and it's one of those things you're not going to acquire just because to acquire, and we know that. We want to make the right moves, and I think with the addition of Cameron, that's certainly going to help.
Well, we really did think that all year long we've given ample opportunity to many players, and we've been very loyal, and and that loyalty's staying. But there comes a point in time where the expectation has to be that, hey, I have grown this much, and I can handle what you obviously, as an organization, we want to give you. And in a couple of cases, that has worked out very, very well, and in a couple others, it hasn't. And I've had a couple of players, over the course of the 5 months, come in and say, hey, do you mind if I, try playing with this guy or that guy? And I say no, but at the end, it hasn't worked either, which tells us that we need another piece. So it became available. Good 200-foot player, competitor. That can score too.
Yeah.
So we're excited. It moves Medrick back over to the wing, which I'm going to talk to him in the morning.
Right.
But it adds a little bit more depth to our team. Hopefully not problematic. But
That's always the fear too when
yeah,
teams are
somebody was
rolling
like-
and you put in a positive piece and different piece. You never know what it'll do to the dynamic. So,
Well, we did our homework. I know, at least on the kid, and from a personality and a kid perspective, I think it should be okay. Now he's got to come and perform, and we got to perform with him. And you know what, you take swings sometimes, and this is a swing we've taken. And if we have the ability to take one more, we really like our group, and I think if there's one more to be had, we may just swing it hard, and if it doesn't, then hey, we're very happy with where we're at. We'll keep moving forward.
awesome. Sounds good. Well, again, guys, appreciate your time, your efforts, and we'll talk next week, guys.
Thank you.
Awesome. Thank you.
So we're gonna do a giveaway this week, I should say, of a Rhino hoodie. Joe, this is what we're gonna, not Joe's hoodie because it probably won't fit you.
No, these are Bauer. These are Bauer. They fit anybody that is
Except us.
singular.
Except
except the good-looking guys.
Yeah, the guys. Yeah. So here it is. This is what we're gonna give away, guys.
Players only.
Yeah, this is a player only
Game
hoodie.
worn. Hoodie off the back.
minus the Warren. That's what we're going to give away to the contestant winner. So
I think Shermore is a 90 last night.
So the contest this week is, who was the Rhino that scored the first regular season goal this year? That's going to be the contest. So you're going to put your comments in below on our social media, and we'll announce the winner next week on next week's podcast, and then we'll just make arrangements for that winner to come pick up their wonderful hoodie. So again, who's the Rhino that scored?
Should I know that?
You should, but don't say it.
I'm trying to think.
Again, the question is, who scored the first goal of the 23-24
What was the score
season?
of the game?
And the score of the game.
No.
It's a two-part question.
Oh, okay.
And who
scored first? No.
Was it 4-3 or 3-2?
I don't know. But who scored the first goal of the first regular season game this year?
5-4.
And what was the score? Two-part question. Again, who scored the first goal and what was the score? Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to episode 5, Crash Course, a hockey podcast. Our special guest today is Steve Jennings, assistant coach up at Air Force Academy. Welcome, Steve.
Hey, Hugh. Thanks for having me.
Yeah, man, it's been a while since I saw you, but it's always a pleasure, and I appreciate you taking the time to jump on and kind of share your journey to when you first started getting involved with the hockey like years ago, and then to kind of where you're at now. And let's just kind of get started back. And I was kind of doing some research on you. 91, 92, back in Navy Academy, ACHA, if the memory serves me correct.
Yep. You're right on it. Yeah, I graduated in 91. I grew up in Boston, played hockey, went to Annapolis. We were a club team. I was fortunate enough to captain, or I was the assistant captain on the first team that ever went to the national tournament out of Navy. So it was good. And then the next year I started coaching. I was on temporary duty at Navy, and so I was fortunate enough. My coach let me come in and hang out and coach a little, and that's really where I started to get the bug to get involved in it, right? And it's also where I understood how tolerant my wife could be.
That's important in this world, isn't it?
Yeah, hell yeah. So it was good, and I coached there for a season and a half before I went out and did my time in the fleet. And then after I got out of the Navy, I took a job in Pennsylvania, and I actually I started coaching with Lehigh University up there, while I was assimilating into the corporate world. So kind of haven't really taken much of a pause, except for when I was on a ship out in the middle of the ocean.
Yeah, there you go. So how many years do you spend in the service?
Just 5 years after I graduated.
Five years.
Yeah, I graduated high school. I had to go to prep school before I went to Navy, and then I tried to go to one of the New England prep schools to play hockey and have an extra year there. And the Navy saw fit to send me to Santa Barbara, California, and put me in a different kind of prep school. So
that kind of just went out the door a little bit on you.
Yeah.
That's funny. So obviously, and then when you got involved with the juniors, like, was your first stint back in 04-05 with Santa Fe in the part of the North American League?
So I'd been transferred down to Texas. I was living just on the north side of Fort Worth, and actually the rink closest to my house was the one that actually Lone Star plays in right now. It was called Blue Line Ice Arena at that point. So started taking my son over there to get him involved in hockey. Somehow I got hooked into coaching with the youth hockey program there, and then a buddy of mine hooked me up and connected me with the staff there at Santa Fe. And yeah, I took a little bit of a pause, not a pause. My intro step was a year before I bird dog Texas for Everett in the Western League.
Yeah.
That was a little bit of a different journey. And then I got on with Santa Fe.
Yeah. The Santa Fe Roadrunners, that cool little city up in, town, I guess, up in New Mexico, not too far from here. So we go skiing up there a little bit here and there. It's kind of the closest thing we got besides Reno.
The funny part was, like, I worked for the team there and did recruiting, and I did it a lot around business trips I was doing, right? Yeah. So I had to go back to New Jersey for meetings or whatever. I'd stay a weekend up there and watch and that sort of stuff. But I never went to Santa Fe. My first trip to Santa Fe was actually this year. We stopped on the way down to New Mexico actually to watch the Rhinos play New Mexico.
Right. Are you serious? That was your first trip there?
Yeah, it's my very first trip.
It's very, obviously, I'm not going to say earthy, but earthy town like New Mexico is, and it's I love it there. It's just kind of a little destination, which is cool. And then from there, Topeka, Aberdeen, that kind of whole scenario.
The franchise moved from Santa Fe to Topeka. And in those early days, I was kind of a regional scout, running around, getting to see whatever hockey I could. And like I said, I did a good job of weaving hockey in around business trips I was on. I was fortunate in my company. I traveled a ton, so it gave me those opportunities. And then my role over time grew. I became the director of player personnel, and then there was a change in Topeka. Moved up to Aberdeen and stayed on in that role. And then actually with a coaching shift there, I actually took the head coach job for a season and a bit. And then I came to work for you guys.
Yeah, no, it's been a journey, man. And, obviously, I've known you a little bit before you came to the Rhinos, not in depth, but we've crossed paths and we had conversations and things like that. Then we made coaching changes, brought in Joe Coombs, and then I don't know at what point in time you became available. And then when I saw your name coming available, it was one of these things like, we've got to try to bring him here, just because of your vast knowledge, Steve, and that you've been involved for such a lengthy period of time, your network of people, et cetera, et cetera. And Joe at that point in time didn't really know a lot about you either, a little bit more than me, but when you came, we were super stoked that you were part of the Rhinos. That is for darn sure. And the short period of time that you were here, the foundation that you brought in and that you've left, I should say, and what you've taught, not only Joe being involved in hockey as long as you and I have, but his knowledge and then our knowledge, just what you brought to the table was phenomenal. And what it's done to our organization has been great. And we still have this relationship, which is awesome.
Yeah, it's good. And I talk to Mike frequently. Mike's a good friend, and he's a guy. Like he and I talk pretty regularly. Actually, once the season got on, Joe and I speak a little bit less, but Mike and I speak just as much, and really trying to help him with the process. And that was the thing that I really liked and appreciated here when I came on, is it was a staff and a group that actually wanted to actually have participation, and actually, we were able to work, I think, really well together because of that.
Yeah. And I think you're absolutely right. And, when our staff, called you dad, like not the fun police, but the fun police, because Joe is a character. There is no doubt about it. And he goes on I'm not saying tangents in a bad way, but he's like squirrel, and he'll shift from one direction to another in a drop of a dime. And it was so good. Like with your relationship that you had with Joe and then with Mike and then myself, I agree. I think everything just really, really fit for what it was. And the time that you spent here was awesome. And I certainly do appreciate everything that you brought to our table.
Yeah. And the same, right. It was, sometimes change is change, right. Sometimes, but it was good to have that, ability to come in and help guys who actually were looking for it. And actually, I really feel like we put the group on a good track.
Yeah. So it's definitely been a great journey for not only yourself with your path and now you're at the collegiate level. When you came here, and I'm going to be honest, I don't think, Herm and I talked about it and we thought it was just going to be a temporary thing, that it was, and that my conversations with you, it was as well. Not in a bad way, just because you had bigger and better things that you wanted to do. And, when you made that phone call to me, that you were moving on, and I was obviously sad, in a good way, but also very, I guess proud that you're feeling what you want to do, and where you ended up now is simply amazing. And if you want to tell us a little bit about what you do there, with, and kind of what you do and how players we talked about your career path. Now, if we can just kind of talk about player career path a little bit.
Yeah, 100%. So I'm in, that whole transition happened super fast, right? So the NCAA programs all got one additional coach last year. The service academies each got one additional on top of that. So I'm actually the fifth member of the staff. So everyone else has four. We have five, and West Point has five. My primary focus is I describe it this way: I coach during the week and I recruit on the weekends, kind of thing, right? And so really, Frank and the group I've known these guys for years. Joe Doyle, who's the associate head coach, and we grew up in the same hometown, so we've had kind of a longer connection. This literally fell into my lap. And I'm very fortunate because of that. But my primary job is really looking out and building the team for next year and the oncoming years, right? So I spend a ton of time watching junior hockey, high school, prep school hockey, that sort of stuff, right? And getting out, starting to fill our tree. And really I think I've been able to take a little bit of that burden off of some of the other members of the staff there, and it is an area of strength for me. And I think it's a lot of people recognize that I'm pretty good at it, and I try to learn everywhere I go. And this is a bit of a different challenge, for kids coming up, and even for kids in the locker room there, and either one of the teams, right?
Yeah.
Everyone always feels it's a race. And it is so not a race. And if it is a race, it's a marathon, and it might actually be one of those mega marathons, the 100 milers or whatever. Because when you look at just with everything that's going on with the transfer portal and the new rules that are coming out with that, and the NIL issues here, right? The landscape for college hockey is continuing to change, and it's really kind of letting kids fully develop. Right. When you look at the amount of generation of professional hockey players coming out of the college ranks these days, I mean, the college is a significant contributor to the NHL, and then all the other pro leagues as well. And really, what it comes down to is, kids don't land in college hockey anymore until they're 20, 21 years old. Most of them are making. I won't say most. There's a decent population of kids over the last couple of years who've been making a change, for different reasons. Some it's for a mismatch, maybe it's a coaching change, maybe it's an injury kind of thing, and they need a fresh start. But because of that, it's really driving the game up more. So my job really is kind of identify the kids younger, but we don't really get earnestly involved in the recruiting process really until we'll watch them. We may talk to them, kick the tires with them. But then we want to go back and watch them commit, get into junior hockey and see how their performance translates there.
Yeah, like you see a kid that's 14 years old, that's not the finished product, right? Either good or bad. There's a lot of growing pains that a kid will go through, and habits, good and bad, kind of get foreseen as they move on, or as they get older. But that's a pretty it's an interesting path for kids. And I'm going through it right now with my daughter, as you well know, Steve. From the time that she's playing, she's like, I want Division I. That's Division I or bust. So, and I'm like, realistically, kid, I don't know. And but as time has gone on, she's starting to see, is Division I the way to go? Do I follow my educational path just because the women's hockey is a little bit different than the men's, as we all know? And just, it is what it is. There's more opportunity for the boys side of things than there's girls, but that's slowly equaling out, but it'll take some time. But she's starting to see the light, and she's really wanting to push for, Ivy League, which is great. But I'd sooner something different. Right. But, luckily she's a little bit smarter than me. So anyway, but it's certainly an interesting path for the boys and the girls. And, like you said, man, it's these kids think it's a race, and they got to get this, and this. But you nailed it on the head where it's not, it's a process.
Not a race, and it's not about your buddy either, right? The kid that you were better than or worse than when you were 10, 12, 14, 16, right? It's not about that, right? Yeah. It's, everyone's journey is their own, and it takes a little bit of different time, and you have to look. And I even go back and look at my son. When he was like 12 and 13 years old, I was like, well, if he gets to Division III hockey, he'd be lucky, and that'd be great. And then over time, he just committed to it and pushed himself. And I honestly say he willed and worked himself into a really good spot in hockey, but it was because he was patient. He was patient with it, as best he could be as a kid, right? Which was a lot of talking around the kitchen table and like, listen, just kind of chill and breathe. And I don't care what the other kids do, and just focus on yourself, right?
100%. 100%. I think that's a conversation that many families have, right? But so you're on the road a lot, Steve. And you've got to have some stories, over your career, funny recruiting stories. I don't know. You got anything for us?
Yeah, I'll give you a kind of a I'll try to not keep it too long. So you make lots of friends out here, right? Out on the road, you start to see people that you kind of. I don't really hang out with a lot of people in the rink. Like when I'm there working, I want to talk to them. Maybe like during the Zamboni cut, and otherwise, I want to actually focus on what's going on, right? But I've made some good friends in the rink, and at one point, this is pre-COVID, buddy of mine who worked for another North American League team. He was working in the corporate world. I was working for TPH at the time and running their academy down in, I think it was in Atlanta still. But anyway, he had said, "Hey, I got contacted by this European group, and they're looking for me to come out to Calgary to scout an event they're putting on." He's like, I can't make it, but do you want me to connect you with the guy?" And he's like, they'll pay for your flight, they'll give you a little bit of cash, cover your room. And I was like, "All right, sure, no problem. I'll go do it." So I get connected with the guys, and okay, so we're gonna go up and do this thing. So now the camp actually works. The dates that the guy gives me is flexible for like a 5-week window, but one of those weeks was actually between two camps I had to do for the team I was working for, right? So we finished the one. So I commit, I'll go do that. So we're going to finish the one camp in Minneapolis. I'm going to fly out to Calgary, do the event, fly back to Detroit the next weekend and do the next camp. So camp ends on Sunday. I go to get dropped off at the airport, closing out my notes for the camp, having a couple of cocktails. It's time to get on the flight. I go walk up and get on the flight, and the lady says, "Where's your passport?" And I pull out my passport card, which I learned the hard way is not the same as your passport. So she says, "You can't get on the plane." And I said, "What are you talking about?" She's like, "You need your passport." So I said, "Well, here it is." And she said, "Nope, card." So come to find out, you can only drive across the border or get on like a cruise ship to use your passport card. If you want to get on a plane, you have to carry your passport with you. So the nice folks at Delta now, it's like 8:00. They're gonna be kind and reroute me to Seattle, not Seattle, to Spokane. So they fly me out to Spokane. Now I got to rent a car and drive from Spokane to Calgary, which on the map doesn't look like such a bad drive.
No.
It's only like this much on a map, right?
Right. But it's through mountains and forests and curves, and yeah, I get it.
Yeah,
been there, done that.
I rent the car and I'm driving across the border, and I get to the border, and the guy says, "Where are you going?" And I said, "I'm going up to Calgary." And he goes, "No, but where are you going now?" And I said, "Well, I'm going to try to find a place. It's like the nearest motel is like an hour and a half up the road. You can pull in there and go." So now I got to get up there. Old style motel where I got to knock on the door and wake the guy up, and he gives me the key on a stick, right? And I got to go in and I'm in this little roadside motel, right? So I drive up, sleep quick. Now I think I'm like, holy crap, I'm like going to be late for this guy. He's going to be all mad because he bought my plane ticket, all this stuff. I drive up there. The guy's like, "Don't worry about it. It's fine." And the boys are getting ready to come out soon. So you're here just in time. You'll catch the afternoon session. Okay. So I'm sitting there, and he's talking to me, and it's him and his dad run this whole thing. The dad doesn't speak English. He does. He's a younger guy. So he's like, "The guys will be coming out real soon." Okay. So the gate opens, and this 10-year-old kid skates on the ice. And I look at the guy, and he's like, "Don't worry, they get older." So there's this litany of slow roll of all these little kids coming out. It's 10, 11, 12. I'm like, are you kidding me? So then they had junior age kids. They had 5 junior age kids left in the camp. All the others had gone back to Europe because they just finished a tournament the weekend before. He kind of forgot to tell me this thing. So I'm out there in Calgary for like 4 days, taking, and he's like, "I need you to take notes, and we have to have meetings with these kids." So I'm trying to, like, through the interpreter, have a little feedback session for a kid who probably doesn't even get what I'm talking about. And then I got to drive back. So drive back to Spokane now to catch my flight back to Detroit. The funny part that I forgot to tell you is, as I'm driving, once I get across the border, right, this is in the early days of phone GPS and stuff, literally in the middle of the night, it was just this dot thing going across the screen. No road, no river, nothing. I had no idea. I'm just following, going, I guess I'm on the right, because I had no signal. So I'm just driving the road going, no sign saying, keep going straight for infinity and you'll get to Calgary, right? So, at the end of the process, the guy comes up, he goes, all right, here's your cash. And he hands me a wad of cash. And I'm like, okay, half of it was still in euros. So I had to convert it. And I was like, oh crap, here we go. Thanks for the bonus trip to Calgary.
Your buddy owes you one, man.
Oh, he still talks to me about that. He's like, yeah, I didn't know it was like that. Sorry, man, I owe you one. Don't worry about it. We have a laugh about it every time I see him. But yeah. I
could just see your face when you got a couple 10-year-olds coming out on the ice. Like, I would be like, what? I could just picture it.
Yeah, it was like 36 hours getting up there, right?
Stressing out, thinking you're going to get in trouble before you're even there. That's awesome. Yeah. It's funny, I'm sure there's 100 stories guys have, but it's certainly a small world, the hockey world, and you meet a lot of cool people and you build a lot of cool friendships. And your tenure here, Steve, it was awesome, and I not only do we know each other in the hockey world, but I consider you a friend of mine, and thank you for everything you've done, and I wish you all the best, and we'll be in touch, my friend.
All right. Well, sounds good. And thank you very much for the opportunity. I really enjoyed it, working with you guys, and I'm happy to see the team doing well this year and kind of you guys keeping it going. So keep going. Playoff push is on.
Yeah, man. I appreciate it, bud. Splash. We'll talk to you soon, my friend. And I wish you all the best.
All right. Thanks, you.
Now we got a second part to this. I don't even know if it's a contest. But I don't know how we got this.
Brownie's gonna get in this. Needs a new hoodie.
This is a Dr. Sharp sitting up here. I don't know how we did it, but I'm gonna let you say it. You're gonna.
So we made a deal, a bet of sorts, that if we have 60 likes or 60 new followers and 300 likes, that they get to shave my head on the pod next week. And if it's 350 and 75, that we're also going to shave Mr. Corey Heons.
Yeah, so I didn't really agree to that, but somehow I got thrown into it.
I think you said yes right away. I think you.
No, it was not.
No, it was pretty quick. It was pretty quick.
But anyway, that's what we're going to do. 300 likes, 50 followers, new followers.
60.
60, sorry. 60 and 60 new followers and 300 likes, and 75 new followers and 350. So really, guys, let's shoot for 301 and 61. That's what we're going for.
Love it.
That's perfect. Fair. Let's go.
Perfect.
And because I wasn't here yet, I already shaved my head. So
but no, we got something in store for you coming up, Joe.
Something? Yeah. Okay.
As we're kind of gaining traction here, fellas, you don't really have a say.
Oh.
It's just you get thrown in there, and it's a vote.
Oh.
So it's 2 against 1.
Okay.
Yeah. So that's kind of how it works. So anyway,
sorry about it.
That's what we're doing, folks. To stay tuned for more. Thank you for watching this week's episode. I hope you enjoyed the show. Please remember to like and follow. And remember, take care, comb your hair, and keep the stick on the ice.